Hey everyone, it's Michael, and today I want to talk about how to learn a skill and make the process so addicting that you can spend almost 60 hours a month doing it and it feels like nothing. Super easy, and you can go from beginner, intermediate to advanced. I just did that this month, and so I wanted to do a video, not just for myself, for my future self, but also for anyone that this helps. So recently I moved to a new city and I decided to take up dancing again, specifically salsa and bachata. And the process was so good and I spent so much time doing it that I wondered, how can I translate this to other skills? So before I do that, let's go over kind of like what my schedule was for the month. This is gonna be a one take video. I don't like editing. So it's gonna be a one take. I'm gonna go through it very quick so I can value your time. And then I'm gonna give you kind of like at the end what the learning lesson was. But I'll go through the formula on how to make something addicting. So for salsa and bachata, I moved to a new city and decided to do a challenge. I want to dance as much as possible and get as good as possible. At the beginning, I was doing like simple right turn, simple left turn, and yeah, that's about it. And my goal was I wanted to really enjoy dancing and I wanted to up the complexity. I wanted to be able to do check turns and delayed turns and inside turns and cross-body leads and Titanics and copas. So on Mondays, I would do a 45-minute group class. On Tuesdays, I would do a 45-minute private class. On Wednesdays, I would do a 35-minute group class with 2 to 3 hours of social. Thursday, I would do 30 minutes of a group class with 2 to 3 hours of social. On Friday, I would have it off. Then on Saturday, I would have 2.5 hours of a group class with 3 to 4 hours of social. And then on Sunday, 1 hour social on average. And this equated to per week, about 45 minutes for private classes, 4 hours and 15 minutes for group classes, and social dancing 8 to 11 hours. So you're already seeing that it equates to quite a bit. Because then we go to per month, came out to 3 hours of private classes, 17 hours of group classes, and 32 hours to 44 hours of social dancing per month. So on average, if you summed everything up, I danced for about 2 hours per day, exactly about 1.93 hours per day, and about 58 hours for the month on average. So I thought, okay, if I was able to do 58 hours of something and level up, why is it that there's other skills that I want to do, maybe like building a business or getting in shape, that sometimes feels like you're pulling teeth? You're just doing 2 to 3 hours per week and you're like, oh my God, this is too much. So how can we get this addicting and translate this to other skills? And the biggest thing that we're going to focus on is input versus output. If you've ever looked at a Layla Hormozi video, she talks a lot about when you have goals, focusing on the inputs and not the outputs. So when you're thinking about inputs and outputs, you can think of lead goals and lag goals. Lead goal is something that you can actually control, while your lag goal is the output of that goal. So for example, if your goal is for your car not to break down on you, you can't just go and not have it break down on you. But what you can do is that you can take it to get serviced. When you take it to go get serviced, that increases the chance that it will not break down on you. So your inputs can be, hey, every quarter for the year, I'm gonna go and get it serviced, so that my goal is that my car doesn't break down. Another example of this is with weight loss, meals. If you're trying to lose weight, you can't just go ahead, lose weight. No, but what you can do is you can go to the gym or you can eat certain food. So when I'm trying to compare different skills, I like to make this little chart. And here we have our input and our output. Here we have our dance, which is what was so addicting. And then here I put another example of something that I was focusing on in the past, but it felt like pulling teeth. Like I just did not enjoy it. Where per week over there, I was spending 8 to 11 hours just social dancing without the classes. Here, I would spend maybe 10 hours just in sourcing, which was my input, and it felt like pulling teeth. It was horrible. So what was the addicting formula? When I spent too much money focusing on the output, and this is the important part, I became frustrated. It's almost like when you're trying to lose weight. If you just focus on losing weight, you're gonna get frustrated. When I focused on sourcing, which was the input, I also became frustrated. Why? Because I was bored and frustrated because I knew that I was focusing on the money too much. But what happened when I danced? This is the addicting part. When I was dancing, the output that I would focus on is fun. Why fun? Because you can only have fun when you are in flow, when something is not too hard, is not too easy. If it's too easy, it's boring. If it's too hard, it's frustrating. It's just the right amount. So when I focused on fun, I would be in the moment. I would be letting go. I would be having a connection with my partner. When I was focusing on the money, I'd get frustrated. So you're thinking, okay, well, how come that you focus on the output here, you had fun, you focus on the output here, you got frustrated? Because while I did focus on the input and I went to practice and I did a lot of social dancing, what brought me to the practice was the fun. I didn't even think about the input. I was thinking about the fun. So how can we switch this around? When we switch it around, you have to think about how can you get a feeling to be your output. First, let's go to our inputs, because I wrote this down and I think it's very fun. I think it's very interesting before we go to our outputs again. For our inputs, what does it look like to be successful in the inputs? For practicing my dance, it was learning something new that I can use immediately. So it's not something I can use in 10 months. It's not something that I can use in a year or even next month. It's something that is just out of my reach where I can use right now. For my sourcing, when I focused on it, it was, could I find something to buy? No, then it would lead to frustration and it would lead to unhappy. So before we get to this, another example, which I think is very good, is your weight loss. This is an example I think that a lot of people can get behind, which is don't focus on the weight, focus on the meals. When you're focused on the meals that you're going to eat, you can be successful and you don't have to worry about the weight. So if you say that you're gonna eat 3 meals a day of whatever, and you eat those 3 meals, that should be success. It's not the weight at the end. Whether you lose it or you gain it, there's so many variables that you don't know. Maybe you had extra salt. Maybe there's an extra sauce in there you didn't know about. You can't control that. But what we can control is the meals. But here's going a little deeper. They actually have a lot to do with each other. And I'm saying this because it's all gonna go down to the culmination over here, but they all have to do with each other, because if you have 3 meals a day and you feel like you're winning, but your weight goes up, it's gonna be a struggle to do your meals. Why? Because you're gonna have your meals that don't taste as good, that you're gonna be like, I wish it tasted better. And on top of that, I'm not even losing weight. Screw this, I'm not gonna do the inputs anymore. And the addicting cycle didn't happen. Now imagine you are doing all your meals and you lose weight. That's when you get locked in. That's when you're like, oh, I feel amazing. So that's great, right? When you're losing weight, you're like, oh, it's addictive. But what about when you're not losing weight? How can you keep doing your meals and reiterating and making sure to change it up every week so that you do lose weight, so it becomes addicting? It's because you have to attach a feeling to the output. This is where the whole video was going to. You have to attach a feeling to the output. This output over here, fun, is not truly the output. Let me change it for you. You're gonna see what I mean in a second. It's not fun. It's actually complexity. Why did I say complexity? Because complexity in dancing is having new moves to do. It's having more musicality. It's getting better. It's not just doing, okay, here are the basics. Here's the left turn. Here's the right turn. You want to become a better dancer. That was the whole output. But the reason how I made it so addicting is because if I just focus on complexity the whole time, I would have never made it with the inputs. Why? Because when you get in your head in dancing, you don't have fun. Complexity is thinking. You're always thinking. If you're always thinking, you're not gonna have fun. But it's the same output, it's just you're attaching a feeling to it. It's just a different spin on it. But when I put fun, That's where it all changed for me. So if you're trying to lose weight, what would I focus on? Yes, you can focus on the inputs, but what about when your weight goes up after you've done all the inputs you're supposed to? You start to get demotivated. You're like, yeah, well, the whole point is like at the beginning of this week, I made an educated guess. I said if I ate 2,000 calories and I ate these meals, I would lose weight, and I didn't. And now I have to go back and I feel like I've lost willpower because I'm not, because I'm eating bland meals and I want pizza like all my friends. What you do is that you don't focus on weight as your output. You focus on the feeling that it could give you. Here's a couple of different feelings that it could give you. It could give you a feeling of accomplishment. Like, hey, like I got it. Like this input, like this output, like I was able to lose weight. It could be of pride. It could be that you feel lighter. It could be that you feel sexier if you're not anorexic, if you're just trying to lose weight because you're out of shape. So get one of these feelings and attach it to the output, but also attach it to the input. Because if you feel proud, for example, this is what I would do. I would use pride. Because if I eat all my meals and I feel proud that I did it, it doesn't matter if the weight goes up or down, because that feeling of pride makes it addicting. Now, if my weight does go down, damn, that's when it's like a double whammy. Because not only did I lose weight, but I also hit my meals. And that's when it's like nothing is stopping me. But if I don't lose weight and my weight goes up, doesn't matter. Why? Because I'm so proud of myself for eating the meals I was supposed to. Who cares about that? My feeling of pride overwhelms everything. So, my new plan, if I'm trying to learn a skill, for example, if I'm trying to do FBA, which is it's a business model, instead of focusing on the money, what I would do is I would focus on the pride that I have for learning and getting better at sourcing. So the output will be pride. I'm even gonna write that down so that we all remember. That's for another video. Pride. So I'm gonna try to this month get another skill, spend 60 hours doing it. And what's gonna keep me coming back? Being like, even when my friends are like, hey, let's go out to party, let's go do stuff. It's like, no, why? Dude, I'm addicted to fun. I'm addicted to pride. I'm addicted to accomplishment, to being sexy. So hopefully this helps. You can try to make this little diagram with any skill that you're trying to learn. I would just put your input, like what is it? Is it if it's tennis, for example, like, hey, I'm gonna go practice this amount of hours or this many times per week. If it's swimming, I'm gonna get into a pool and I'm gonna practice this many times per week with a coach, whatever. But don't focus on your time when you're swimming. What are you gonna focus on? That you got to the pool, that you did the exercises, and how you feel after doing it. Now, this doesn't mean that after every single week, you don't change the plan, right? Because you could be proud of yourself, but at the end of the day, you're still trying to lose weight. It's not like you're like, I'm just doing this because I like to suffer and I like to be in a calorie deficit. No, you're still trying to lose weight. So if the first week, like you hit all your meals and you feel proud, but you didn't lose weight, you still change it. You're still proud, but you still change the plan because what you did was an educated guess, because that's all we can do in life is take educated guesses with what we have. And then we see if we lose weight. And when we do, our feeling of proud and accomplishment does not change. Because remember, you are not your weight. You are not your output. You are your inputs, the feeling. I went every single quarter this year to change my car or to get my car serviced so it wouldn't break down. It broke down. Next year I'll go 8 times. But dude, I'm so proud of myself because I did what I thought I had to do to reach my goal. Cool? I will end the video there. If you like this kind of video, I'm just kind of doing it because I think it's very fun. I think it's fun to teach this stuff and the stuff that I come up with throughout the week. Go ahead and subscribe, leave a comment. That's something that I really enjoy, that feeling of knowing that it actually reached someone and that someone took value from this. Leave a comment and let me know what kind of other videos you'd like me to do, and I will see you in the next one.